What is going on, guys? I am Jaye Black here. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about this Vibe article, as well as a few others, that's about Martin Lawrence. Y'all know Martin Lawrence, one of the biggest TV stars, actor, comedians of the 90s, right? Well, he has a new movie coming out this month, Bad Boys 3, or Bad Boys for Life, right? With Will Smith. And apparently he did an interview and he talked about why he walked away from his show almost 20 years ago. Well, over 20 years ago. And he is basically saying that it was due to the allegations that were made by Tisha Campbell. So I'm going to get into this article a little bit and I'm going to come back in my commentary. More than 20 years after his self-titled sitcom went off the air, Martin Lawrence is opening up about what led to the show's demise. In an interview with GQ magazine, Lawrence revealed that he left Martin after his co-star Tisha Campbell accused him of harassment and other things. Although Lawrence initially stated that it was just time to end the hit Fox series, he addressed Campbell's past allegations. None of that was true. It was all a lot of BS. And I think a lot of people see that now. There's a lot of reasonings as to why Tisha Campbell may have done this. People are saying it was because of her then husband. People are saying it's because that she wanted to focus on her music career and the show wouldn't really allow her to do that. And she needed an out, even though I think that's very messed up. But I think even Tisha Campbell is saying that that's not true. And we all know that's not true now because she has been photographed with Martin. I think they even did an interview together. Her, Tanisha Arnold, and Martin all did an interview together. Like, it was like an interview. They were together with each other and they were speaking, I believe, to TMZ. And she has maintained her level of love and respect for the guy. So we all know that one of the best shows ever created ended because of one woman's decision to make up what Martin Lawrence is saying, BS. Although Lawrence initially stated that it was time to end. Oh, read through that. Okay, Campbell abruptly quit Martin in '97 following a string of incidents involving Lawrence, which included him getting arrested after acting erratically while waving a weapon in the middle of an intersection. According to a '97 People magazine report, producers sued Campbell for quitting the show, and she countersued with allegations towards Lawrence. The parties reached an out-of-court settlement, and Campbell agreed to return to the show on the condition that she'd be allowed to film scenes separate of Lawrence. Lawrence and Campbell have since moved on and have a good relationship, but never spoke about Campbell's claims. Now listen, I understand that, you want to be able to make things right with people. You want to be able to be cool with certain people again, but I can't be cool with nobody that makes claims against me. I'm sorry. I can't be cool with you again unless if we have a heart-to-heart conversation and you admit to me and everybody else that you were wrong. And Tisha Campbell has yet to do that. I mean, look at her divorce. I mean, she's putting everything on Dwayne as if Dwayne was the issue, as if Dwayne had all the problems and she did nothing wrong. It almost mirrors the same situation in the mid-90s with Martin in the show. I just think that she didn't want to do it anymore. And she came up with these claims because she wanted to get out of her contract. That's what it seemed like to me. Now, was there some things that may be going on behind the scenes? Probably so. I believe that, Martin wanted to date her, but she chose to be with somebody else, and I think that may have caused some friction there. I'm not saying that is right, but you can't go and make claims and then years later be cool with the guy like nothing happened. We don't need to talk about something that just didn't happen, said Lawrence. So I just decided to walk away from the show. I just decided to end it. People said that I got canceled, but that wasn't the case. I decided to just leave the show. Y'all got to understand, the show was still pulling in about 6 million views its last season. It started off close to about 12 million in 92, and by 97 it was still getting half of that. But I mean, who's getting 6 million views these days? And that was in the 90s. And I think Martin wanted to focus more on his movie career. I think there was just too much drama going on behind the scenes, and he said, you know what, I'm not gonna deal with this. And so I did the show, because I think they felt like they couldn't do the show without Tisha, even though I think they may have could have. I love Tisha. You continue. I seen her then and now and then, always with nothing but love. I have nothing but love for her, and I always have. Elsewhere in the interview, Lawrence reflects on his career beginnings, feeling overworked at the height of his stardom and taking a break from the entertainment world. The Maryland native also touches on the turbulence of his past, such as the aforementioned 96 arrest for carrying weapons, slipping into a coma, and learning to walk again. Now that he's had time off from the spotlight, Lawrence laments that he's still hungry for new projects. I love feeding my family. I love helping people. I love taking care of people. And the only way I do that is to keep the train going. And hopefully, due to the grace of God, I'll be able to stop the train when I'm ready to stop. Yeah, Martin did take some time off, because he stopped doing a lot of projects. He just left the spotlight, quietly. And I can understand him doing so, because the guy did work very hard in the 90s. He was doing movies and television shows at the height, and there were some issues there, but he seems to have gotten himself in a very good mind frame. Because if you look at, his Instagram, he also has a YouTube page. You can just see he's re-energized, and that's a good thing, because he's one of the most talented actors I've ever seen. As for why he took over a decade for another installment of the Bad Boys franchise, Lawrence revealed the script wasn't right and will, to his credit, refused to do the movie until the script was right. It wouldn't have been a good movie. We didn't want that. We wanted to do a sequel where people would go, oh man, that's what I'm talking about. Let's just get better. It just gets better. And the new Bad Boys film, Bad Boys for Life, comes out in theaters January 17th, which I will be going to see. But let me just say this. Y'all know we are in the Me Too era, okay? There's been a lot of careers. There's been men put behind bars over allegations. And allegations that were made about Martin, pretty much ended one of the most popular shows on TV. There were a lot of people who financially were able to take care of themselves and their families through that show. And the fact that an allegation that is proven to not be true, were there issues behind the scenes? Yes. But were there issues enough to where the show should have ended? No. I think that Tisha Campbell wanted time off. I think she wanted to focus on her music career. I think that her and Martin started to have friction. I just think she didn't want to do the show anymore. She wanted to move on. She wanted to do something different. She wanted to be allowed to do something different and wasn't able to do so. Just look at her current situation with her current divorce. That tells you everything you need to know about Tisha Campbell. I'm not saying that she's a bad person. I just think that she made a very bad decision that had a lot of ramifications. There's a lot of people who probably weren't able to find steady work after the show ended, simply because she didn't want to do it anymore. And I commend Martin for saying let bygones be bygones, because to his credit, his career was not stalled due to those claims. He was still able to make movies. He was still able to find success, but the show pretty much was done. Now, the show has been in syndication since the 90s. It's still a very popular show. It still has a large fan base. So I think that what mattered at the end of the day was that the show made an impact. Despite what was going on behind the scenes, the show was still able to impact the lives of a lot of people. Even though the people that worked behind the scenes were very flawed. They weren't perfect people. But I think that I can appreciate Martin wanting to let things go, wanting to move in a different direction. And I think that, Tisha is going to have to carry the burden of that. I don't think that Martin has to anymore. I think his conscience is clear. This is why I think he's speaking about it now. I think he's had a long time to really reflect on it. And he can say to himself, yes, I played a part in why the show isn't here anymore, but I didn't go and I didn't make up anything about anybody. I didn't, try to ruin somebody's reputation. I think Tisha Campbell has to deal with that. She has to deal with what happens next. Now, I also believe that one of the causes of Tisha Campbell's divorce was that she became cool with Martin again. Because again, when they did that group sort of, they were together. I believe they spoke to TMZ. I believe she was still married to Dwayne. I don't think Dwayne liked that. I don't think Dwayne liked her being cool with Martin like that again because of the things she told Dwayne, and for her to be cool and chummy with this guy and talk about doing a reboot of the Martin show. I think that Dwayne finally got the picture and saw things clear, and that's why they separated. I mean, not the only reason. There's probably plenty of other reasons, but I think that's one of them. Because one thing a man doesn't like for a situation to be is him to be lied to, him to be deceived. And I think that he kind of felt deceived in a way. But again, that doesn't mean that he believed 100% of what she was saying. But we all have to take that long look in the mirror. And I think that Tisha Campbell didn't want to do the show anymore. She was ready to move on. She was doing music in the 90s. I think she wanted to move in that direction. And we saw where that music career went. We saw where it went. I think she wanted to do movies as well. I think that, there was friction with her and Martin. There was chemistry there, but I also do think that there was friction there. And I think Martin had to play her part to play in that too. But I just think that Tisha just wanted to do something different. And she took the whole showdown with her, and if you wanted to leave the show. But I think when they sued her and then she made these claims against Martin, that was her way of getting out. You'd be surprised what people do when they want to get out of a situation.